Starting a business is tough. Okay, it's really tough. The cost of equipment, new logos, websites, education can quickly add up. If you have already started that process, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are not careful, you can quickly rack up some debt. Then debt can lead to stress on your marriage, on yourself, or on the longevity of your business. I'm going to go over 5 tips that I have found that can help you succeed in your business. I also want to stress that business success does not come easy, and everyone's definition of success should be different. I have talked to so many women lately that are stay-at-home moms, and they're looking at everyone else's business and thinking they are failing. First, don't look at anyone else's business. I know it's really hard to do. Don't compare yourself to them. We all do it. You will thank me. You have to define what is success to you and put the blinders on to anyone else. Success for all of us is very different. But for the sake of this video, we are defining success as running a profitable photography business. Now let's get started. Now I'm going to talk about financial investments. I'm going to start with your favorite, money. First and foremost, I want to remind you that you don't have to have the best gear, the best website, the best everything. I think gear should actually be the last thing you invest in, but with photographers, it's typically the first. If you have $1,000 to invest and your end goal is to start a business, I would actually allocate at least 70% to marketing. I would get a logo. I would set up a website and establish a brand first. Start with investing in your image, your brand, and your skill sets. Whatever camera you currently have, learn with it, and when you are ready to buy and your business is ready to buy, then you can move up. You can even rent lenses until your business can support it. If you have the means to get nicer gear, great. But from a business perspective, I would allocate those funds other places in the beginning. Education, in my personal opinion, is huge. The old school way of learning was college or schools. You can now watch online training with top industry experts or even take classes and learn from real working pros that can help you to avoid some major mistakes in photography and in your business that they've already been through. Something that might take you 6 months to learn, they could teach you in a day, and with the end result being a business that grows faster. With in-person workshops, you can also leave with a support group. Peers that are actually attending that workshop with you can become a network of resources for you. Education and training has been priceless to my own business. I think there is always something new to learn from everyone. And the second that you stop learning or innovating, you can fail. We have so much turnover in our industry. A passion for photography is struck, then training and investments are made. Then after either burning out of shooting or unsuccessfully being able to find a profitable business, the doors eventually close. I want to help you avoid that. I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. Scenario 1, I'm going to call her Sally. Sally just had her first baby and she decided she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, but she can't figure out exactly what to do because she knows she needs the extra money and she actually needs to return to her day job. She has a camera and she loves taking pictures of her precious new little one. She asks another photographer that is a friend, and the photographer brings her along to a photography class. This presenter just talked about you can do it and just take a leap of faith. If you truly believe it, follow your dreams. Sally goes home pumped up. She talks to her husband about this idea and he seems a bit apprehensive, but he sees the sparkle in her eyes, so he listens. Next thing you know, she goes and buys a brand new Canon 5D Mark II or III, a 50 f1.2 lens. Because she is new, she feels like she needs to set the stage and get the greatest gear to produce the highest results. She starts a Facebook page, of course, offers free sessions to get her portfolio built, purchases Photoshop for editing, creates her own logo, and starts a blog. Then a month or 2 rolls around and she gets the first credit card bill that she can't pay and interest included. Because she ended up leaving her day job, she no longer has that income and she has a baby at home that she has to take care of. So balancing home life and work life is tough. Months go by and of course she gets some sessions that are low paying and almost not even enough to cover the interest. The stress starts weighing on her. The husband becomes frustrated and bitter, and after a 1.5 years of trying, she's still not able to turn it into a business. And mind you, she has only 1 lens and 1 camera in. The cost to start her business, Canon 5D Mark III, $3,500. Canon 50 f1.2, $1,600. Photoshop, $700. Interest never ending. Just with those things, she's in debt already $6,000. Scenario 2, let's call her Betsy. Yes, I'm from the South. Betsy just had her first child as well. She also wants to be a stay-at-home mom and pursue photography business. She realizes though that money is just tight and the best scenario is to keep the job at least part-time while the new little one is in daycare or at grandma's. Was it hard to leave that baby? Yes, but she knew she was doing the right thing for her family. After talking with her husband, she decided she wanted to learn more about photography. She does her research and finds an old 5D body and a used Canon 50F 1.8 or 1.4. She doesn't buy them on credit, but she tucks away enough money for 3 months out of her paycheck. She was practicing, reading the manual from front to back, and teaches herself what she could online. After classes and everything else, she ends up hardly touching her discretionary income and learning as she went along. She also did some research and decided to go with Lightroom for editing for now. She started with shooting her child and family members. Then she started shooting other families and decided it was time that she wanted to turn it into a business. She opened a company, hired a graphic design, and got a website done. These items were only paid through by making little money as she went along. She worked part-time at her day job, balanced being a mom and starting a photography business. She was disciplined and excited about the end goal, which was to be able to be a full-time photographer and stay-at-home mom. Her investments include a used 5D body, which was around $600, a used Canon f1.8, which is around $125. You can actually buy them new for $125 too. Lightroom, $99, and she was in debt, $0. Betsy and Sally are fake names, but these are true stories I hear and see all the time. What I want more than anything is from 2 years from now, I see you, I run into you, and you are still shooting photography. Your family is great, and you are finally able to purchase that Canon 5D Mark III. More than anything, I want to help other women succeed. And the most important tip I can give you is to grow as your business grows. The next tip is to get a coach or a mentor. Did I just say a coach? Yes, I did. Did you know who can hold you back the most? You. Here is my motto. If you are not nervous about something that you are working on, then you are not pushing yourself forward. Sometimes being in the middle of things, you can't see the bigger picture. You can't see beyond your own office doors. You have your goals, but they are only the goals you know to reach. You have fear of everything because when your name is stamped to it, your reputation is on the line. A lot of times, this alone will stop us dead in our tracks. So I want to encourage you to find yourself a coach. It can be a friend, someone in the family, another photographer, or a mentor. When you find that person, it might or might not come with a cost. Remember though, that coach's view and the strategy is only as big as he or she can see. So make sure it is someone that takes the time to know you, how you operate, and truly listen to your end goals. I also think it's beneficial to find someone in your industry. And of course, find someone that is doing something better than you and let them help you come up with a plan or push you when you're in doubt or fear. We all struggle with putting ourselves out there. Once you are forced to do something, you can gain a bigger view and confidence about yourself and carry that forward. Without that extra push, what would you still be doing? My next tip is to get a team and outsource. I am a photographer and you're telling me to get a team? Yes. This is not something that I had until about 2013. And let me tell you, it is liberating. It is a scary thing to trust in other people. And for lack of better terms, I can be a control freak. So handing over power to someone else, and I'm a perfectionist, it's hard. It's not that I don't want to give up responsibilities. It's just that once you get used to a certain way of working, it's hard to change your habits. So for a photographer, a team consists of a coach, like we just talked about, and people that have businesses that can help your directional goals. For instance, post-production, an accountant, second shooters, and the list goes on and on. For example, I don't edit my own weddings. I never have, to be honest. And the time I would usually spend editing my weddings, I'm focusing on marketing or I'm just hanging out with my kids. Scope out other team players for your team and give up responsibility. Make yourself a team player. You can do more when you have a team rather than you just alone. Period. End of story. My next tip is to establish workflows. Hello, efficiency. If I did not establish workflows and systems in my business, I would not be in business. What am I talking about? Workflows for everything. Here are just some examples to name a few. When a client inquires, what does your response look like? After a shoot, what does your importing, editing, and storing look like? For marketing, does your time to post and social media look like? And the list goes on and on. Before you can establish workflows, I think you first have to get organized. So before you start the process, clean up your clutter, both in your camera bag, your desk, and even your computer. Heck, for your life for that matter. Then establish files for accounting information. Establish folders, locations for client images and contracts. And organize your email. You cannot be efficient if you are not organized. I have 2 kids, and if I become unorganized, I literally cannot think straight. So stop what you're doing, Stop making excuses and get organized. This is a never-ending process. Then establish workflows for everything that you do multiple times. If you do the same thing over and over, not only is it more efficient, but in the end, it'll keep you organized. Along these workflow lines, who will have these roles? For instance, I have a workflow that after a wedding, this is what I do. I back up my images and all the cards are turned a certain way after I shoot them. Then once I import them, I actually turn them another way. I go through and I cull my images. I export with the correct file names. It's the same way every time. Then I copy my images to my hard drive. I ship them off. Then once I get the Lightroom catalogs back done from my editing company, I import them. I do final touches, do any cropping. I export as JPEGs, and then it's on to backing up for storing in client galleries. In that workflow, my post-production company is responsible for a big portion of the end product, which is editing. Could you imagine if I did that a different way every time? It would be impossible. I have young kids and workflows are a necessity. Another tip I have is to work happy. This kind of comes twofold and it sounds a little silly, but if you are doing what you love, you will work happy. I don't think I have ever met someone that says they hate photography and they're a photographer, ever. If your brand, which is you, comes off as happy, you will have more consumers attracted to your business. People want to be around people that are happy. It is contagious. Even more so if you're going to be taking their pictures. If you seem boring and disconnected, I think you're going to have a hard time connecting and convincing people to take their pictures. If you seem fun and happy and your images look fun and happy, people are going to want you to take their images. In conclusion, if you take nothing away from this article, I want you to take away a couple points. Some of this I learned from others, while a lot of it I learned from just making my own mistakes. I want you to avoid those mistakes. You don't need to buy the latest and greatest gear. Don't grow your business on debt. And you don't need everything in order to start your business. Make sure that you lay out a simple budget sheet as well as a business plan. Don't always buy your gear. Rent or buy used older models as well. Invest first in marketing and your branding. When starting a business, you should not cut corners on logos and branding elements. This is going to set the stage for your business, and I feel like it is probably the biggest investment you should make, and it should never be overlooked. Even if you do your own bookkeeping, make sure you have an accountant to make sure everything is applied to taxes correctly. And this might even be something that you want to outsource. When it comes to something like photography that you started it because you truly love, I think it can be harder to set up a correct business. I don't think I've ever heard a photographer that they got in the business to make money. It is always, I got in the business because I love photography and I want to make money. There are photographers everywhere you look. If you purchased an iPhone last week, you might be considered a photographer. I'm kind of kidding, but not really. So what separates you from the pack? What makes you still be the photographer in 3 years? What makes you turn this hobby into a career? It is the things that you do in your business that will determine that. You can be one of the most talented photographers and artists, but without setting up a sound business, burnout, expenses, or even loss of revenue will eventually be the end of your photography business. Now it is time to get busy. Stop making excuses. Stop doubting in you. Being nervous can just remind you that you are moving forward. And without moving forward, we are just stuck sitting still. Take these tips, apply it to your business and your personality, and get busy.